I never thought I'd be blocked from seeing pictures of my own nieces on their birthday. But there I sat, staring at my phone in disbelief, the user not found message glaring back at me from my brother James' Instagram profile. The same brother whose kids' education I've been financing for the past 3 years. The same brother who'd sworn I'd always be Aunt Sophie, their favorite person in the world. My name is Sophie Chin, and at 34, I'm what most people would consider successful. Senior VP at a tech consulting firm, owner of a beautiful downtown condo, and finally in a place where I can afford the things I never had growing up. But right now, none of that success matters, because I can't even wish Emma and Lily, my beloved nieces, a happy birthday. This has to be a mistake, I muttered, switching to my text messages. But no, the blue message bubble showed my last text to James from this morning. Can't wait to give the girls their presents. What time should I come over? Below it, his response made my stomach churn. The girls don't need an aunt like you in their lives. Stop trying to buy their love. We're done. Blocked. Just like that. I set my phone down on my desk, my hands shaking slightly. Through my office window, I could see the Seattle skyline, gray and misty as usual. 3 years of supporting them, of making sure those girls had every opportunity I never had. And this was how it ended. My assistant, Kate, knocked softly on my door. Sophie, your 2 p.m. is here. Cancel it, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Cancel everything for the rest of the day. Kate's eyebrows shot up. I never cancel meetings, but she nodded and closed the door quietly. I opened my banking app, scrolling through the transaction history. There it was, like clockwork. $1,000 transferred to James' account every Monday morning for the past 3 years. The latest one had gone through just yesterday, a total of $156,000, given freely to ensure my nieces could attend Westbrook Academy, the most prestigious private school in Seattle. The irony wasn't lost on me. Growing up, James and I had attended public school in the rougher part of town. Our parents, immigrants who worked multiple jobs, could barely keep food on the table, let alone think about private education. I fought my way through on scholarships and determination while James had always taken the easier path. When Emma was born 7 years ago, followed by Lily 2 years later, I'd sworn those girls would have every advantage I could give them. James had been struggling then, working as a mechanic while his wife Sarah stayed home with the girls. When Westbrook Academy came up in conversation, their eyes lighting up at the possibility but dimming just as quickly at the tuition costs. I jumped in without hesitation. I'll cover it, I'd said over dinner at their small apartment. Both girls full tuition. Sophie, we can't accept that, Sarah had protested, but I could see the hope in her eyes. Yes, you can, I'd insisted. I'm their aunt. Let me do this. James had hugged me then, tears in his eyes. You're amazing, sis. The girls are so lucky to have you. Now, sitting in my office, that memory felt like a knife twisting in my gut. I pulled up my email, finding the latest statement from Westbrook Academy. Spring semester, paid in full. The girls were thriving there, Emma at the top of her class in mathematics, Lily showing remarkable talent in their advanced art program. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Please understand, this is for the best. The girls need stability, not confusion. James and I agree, we need space from you. Confusion? What confusion? I scrolled through my recent interactions with the family, trying to pinpoint where things had gone wrong. Last weekend, I'd attended Emma's piano recital, beaming with pride as she played Beethoven. The weekend before, I'd taken Lily shopping for art supplies, delighting in her detailed explanations of different paintbrushes. Everything had seemed fine. Better than fine. Then it hit me. Last week, during a family dinner at my condo, I'd mentioned dating again. Specifically, dating women. The silence that had fallen over the table should have been my first clue. But you dated David last year, James had said, his fork suspended halfway to his mouth. I'm bisexual, I'd explained, keeping my voice casual for the girls' sake. I date men and women, and Julie makes me really happy. Emma had immediately launched into questions about Julie's job, pediatrician, and whether she had any pets, a golden retriever named Max. Lily had asked if they could meet her, but James and Sarah had exchanged a look I should have paid more attention to. My office phone rang, startling me from the memory. James's number. Hello, I answered, my heart pounding. The school called, he said without preamble. They want to know why this semester's tuition payment was flagged for review. I glanced at my computer screen, where my banking app was still open. I didn't flag anything. Fix it, he demanded. Whatever game you're playing, leave the girls out of it. Game? I felt heat rising in my cheeks. You blocked me from seeing my nieces on their birthday. Sarah tells me I'm confusion they don't need. And you think I'm playing games? Sophie, is this about Julie? About me being bisexual? The silence on the other end was deafening. We just don't think it's appropriate, he finally said. The girls are at an impressionable age. They ask questions. Other parents talk. I closed my eyes, fighting back tears. The same parents whose kids' tuition I probably could have paid for too. Don't be dramatic. This isn't about money. Really? Because I've transferred exactly $156,000 to your account over the past 3 years. Money that ensured your daughters could attend their dream school. Money freely given because I love them and wanted them to have opportunities we never had. No one asked you to do that, James snapped. No, you just happily took it. Every week, without fail, I pulled up the school's parent portal where I was listed as the primary financial contact. You know what? You're right, this isn't about money. This is about bigotry wrapped in fake concern about your daughters. Sophie Daunt. The girls' tuition is paid through the end of this semester. I cut him off. After that, you're on your own. Good luck explaining to Emma why she can't take advanced placement math anymore, or to Lily why she has to give up her art program. I hung up before he could respond, my hands shaking as I pulled up the school's contact information. Within minutes, I had the principal's secretary on the line. Hi, this is Sophie Chen. I need to speak with Dr. Harrison about Emma and Lily Chen's enrollment. As I waited to be connected, I glanced at the framed photo on my desk. Emma and Lily at last year's science fair, their smiles wide and bright, my arms around them both. My heart ached knowing I might never hold them like that again. But I'd learned long ago that love shouldn't come with conditions, and if James and Sarah thought they could take my nieces away from me because of who I loved, well, they were about to learn some hard lessons about unconditional love themselves. The principal's line clicked on. Ms. Chen, Dr. Harrison here. What can I do for you? I took a deep breath. We need to discuss some changes to Emma and Lily Chen's enrollment status. I spent the rest of the afternoon in meetings with the school's administration and my lawyer. By the time I left the office, the sun was setting over Elliott Bay, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange that would have delighted Lily's artistic eye. My phone had been buzzing continuously. James, Sarah, even their neighbors and the other parents at school. Word had spread fast. I ignored them all, driving home in silence. In my condo, I walked straight to the guest room that I'd set up for the girls' sleepovers. Their artwork covered the walls, Emma's precise geometric designs next to Lily's exuberant watercolors. A shelf held their favorite books, games, and a special pajamas they only wore at Aunt Sophie's house. On a dresser sat 2 wrapped presents, a telescope for Emma, who'd recently developed an interest in astronomy, and a professional art set for Lily. Presents they might never open now. My phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. This is Julie. James just came to my office, made a scene, called me some choice names, said I corrupted you and destroyed his family. I'm so sorry, Sophie. I sank onto the guest room bed, surrounded by reminders of the nieces I might never see again, and finally let myself cry. The next morning, I woke up to 37 missed calls and over 50 text messages. I ignored them all, got dressed, and drove to Westbrook Academy. I had an 8 a.m. meeting with Dr. Harrison, and I wasn't about to let James' drama make me late. The school's campus sprawled across 10 manicured acres, all red brick buildings and ivy-covered walls. Usually, dropping the girls off here filled me with pride. Today, it just made my chest ache. Ms. Chen, Dr. Harrison greeted me in her office, gesturing to the leather chair. I must say, yesterday's calls were concerning. I sat down, smoothing my skirt. I appreciate you meeting with me so early. Of course. She adjusted her glasses, studying me. You've been an incredible supporter of our school. The STEM lab you helped fund last year has transformed our science program, which makes this situation all the more delicate. I understand. I pulled out a folder containing bank statements and transfer records. I want to be completely transparent. Every penny of Emma and Lily's tuition has come from me, not their parents. I've also contributed substantially to the school's development fund. Yes, we're well aware. Dr. Harrison's expression softened. Their father was quite vocal yesterday afternoon. He made some accusations that, frankly, we found disturbing. My stomach clenched. What kind of accusations? The sort that say more about him than about you. She leaned forward. Ms. Chen, Westbrook Academy prides itself on inclusivity. We have several same-sex parents in our community. The idea that someone's sexual orientation would make them an unfit guardian is not just offensive. It's against everything we stand for. I felt tears pricking at my eyes but forced them back. Thank you. But I'm not actually their guardian, just their aunt. An aunt who has invested tremendously in their education and well-being. She handed me a tissue. The girls speak about you constantly. Emma just last week told her science teacher she wants to be successful like Aunt Sophie when she grows up. That did it. The tears came, and this time I couldn't stop them. I don't want to pull their funding, I whispered. But I can't keep supporting my brother while he teaches them it's okay to hate people for who they love. Dr. Harrison nodded. I understand. And while we normally don't get involved in family matters, this situation is unique. She pulled out a thick folder. We'd like to offer both girls merit scholarships. Full tuition coverage through 8th grade. I stared at her. What? Emma is at the top of her class. Lily's art was just selected for the regional youth exhibition. They've more than earned it. She smiled. The timing is perhaps convenient, but the offers are genuine. For the first time since yesterday, I felt like I could breathe. They won't have to leave. No, though I suspect their father may choose to withdraw them anyway, given his views. She was right. James's pride wouldn't let him accept charity even for his daughter's benefit. But at least now I knew they had options that didn't depend on me compromising my integrity. Leaving Westbrook, I finally checked my messages. Most were from James and Sarah, ranging from angry to pleading. But one caught my eye. A video message from Emma, sent from Sarah's phone. My niece's face filled the screen, tears streaming down her cheeks. Aunt Sophie, please don't be mad at us. Daddy says we can't see you anymore, but I don't understand why. Is it because of Dr. Julie? Because I told him she seems really nice and Max is the coolest dog ever, and it's not fair. The video cut off abruptly, probably Sarah discovering Emma had taken her phone. I sat in my car, playing it again and again. Emma's tear-stained face, her confusion, her innocent defense of Julie. It broke my heart and strengthened my resolve at the same time. My phone rang. Sarah. Against my better judgment, I answered. What? Emma's hysterical, she said without preamble. She overheard James talking to the school. She knows you're cutting off their tuition. That's not exactly. How could you do this to them? Sarah's voice cracked. They love you so much, and you're punishing them because we don't approve of your lifestyle. My lifestyle? I laughed bitterly. You mean my existence, my right to love who I love. They're too young to understand. They understand perfectly well. Emma just sent me a video defending Julie for God's sake. They're not the ones with the problem. You and James are. Silence. The school offered them scholarships. I said finally, full rides. They don't need my money anymore. James will never accept that. Then that's on him, not me. I hung up, started my car, and drove straight to Julie's office. I hadn't seen her since this whole mess started, since James had stormed into her pediatric practice making a scene. Her receptionist recognized me immediately. Dr. Julie's with a patient, but she left strict instructions to let you in when you arrived. I found Julie in her office, poring over patient files. She looked up when I entered, her face filled with concern. Sophie. I burst into tears. Julie was up in an instant, wrapping me in her arms. She smelled like lavender and coffee, and for the first time in 24 hours, I felt safe. I'm so sorry, she murmured into my hair. This is all my fault. If I hadn't suggested meeting the girls. No, I pulled back, wiping my eyes. This is not your fault. This is my brother's bigotry, pure and simple. Still, she led me to her office couch, her hand warm in mine. I hate that you're losing your relationship with your nieces because of me. Because of him, I corrected. And I haven't lost them. Not really. They know I love them. They know who I am. That matters more than James's prejudice. Julie squeezed my hand. Tell me what you need. Anything. I looked at her, this amazing woman who'd walked into my life 6 months ago and turned everything upside down in the best way, who treated every child in her practice like they were precious, who rescued senior dogs because they deserve love too, who made me laugh even on my worst days. Just this, I said softly. Just you being you. She kissed my forehead. You have me. And those girls? They have you too, even if their parents are too blind to see what they're throwing away. I spent my lunch break with Julie, letting her presence calm me. But eventually, I had to return to reality. Back at my office, Kate met me with a grim expression. Your brother's in the conference room. What? How did he? Said he make a scene in the lobby if we didn't let him up. Security's standing by. I squared my shoulders. How long has he been waiting? About an hour. Good. I found James pacing the conference room, his mechanic's hands leaving smudges on our glass table. He spun when I entered. Finally. Do you know how long I've been waiting? Exactly as long as I intended. I sat down, gesturing for him to do the same. He remained standing. You're ruining everything, he spat. The girls are devastated. Sarah's crying. The school's looking at us like we're monsters. Aren't you? The words came out calm, controlled. Making your daughters cry because their beloved aunt dares to love someone you don't approve of. It's not about. If you say it's not about that one more time, I swear to God, James. I met his eyes. It's exactly about that. You're choosing your prejudice over your daughter's happiness. I'm protecting them. From what? From seeing that love comes in many forms. From learning that their aunt, who has supported them their entire lives, is capable of being happy. I shook my head. The school offered them scholarships, full rides. You don't need my money anymore. He flinched. We're not taking charity. No, you'd rather take your sister's money while condemning her existence. I stood up. The scholarships are there if you want them. If not, that's your choice. But don't you dare put this on me. I'm not the one destroying our family. Sophie, security will show you out. I walked to the door. Oh, and James, those weekly transfers, they're done. I'd start looking at public schools if I were you. I made it back to my office before breaking down. Kate appeared with tea and tissues, closing the door quietly behind her. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur of meetings and emails. I buried myself in work, trying not to think about Emma's tearful video or Lily's artwork on my guest room walls. At 6, my phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. The girls are asking to say goodnight to you. Please, just one call. I stared at the message for a long time before replying, put them on speaker. Minutes later, my phone rang. Aunt Sophie. 2 voices cried out in unison. Hi, my loves. I fought to keep my voice steady. How are you? We miss you, Lily said. Daddy's being mean. He says we can't come to your house anymore. I heard. I swallowed hard. But I want you both to know something very important. Are you listening? Yes, they chorused. I love you. Both of you. More than anything in the world. Nothing will ever change that. Not where you go to school, not who I date, not what anyone else says. You are my precious nieces, and that's forever. Emma sniffled. Even if we can't see you. Even then, every time you solve a hard math problem, every time you create beautiful art, I'm proud of you. Always. We love you too, Lily whispered. I heard Sarah in the background, telling them it was time for bed. Good night, my loves, I managed. Good night, Aunt Sophie. The line went dead. I sat in my darkening office, watching the city lights come on below. Tomorrow, I'd have to figure out how to navigate this new reality. Tomorrow, I'd have to be strong. But tonight, I let myself mourn what my brother's hatred had cost us all. 2 weeks passed. The weekly transfer to James' account, a Monday morning ritual for 3 years, didn't happen. My lawyer sent formal documentation to Westbrook Academy, removing me as the financially responsible party for the girls' education. Life went on, even if it felt emptier without Emma and Lily in it. Julie suggested we get away for the weekend, take my mind off everything. We were planning a trip to Vancouver when my phone lit up with a call from an unexpected source. Mrs. Martinez, Emma's math teacher. Ms. Chen? I hope I'm not overstepping, but there's something you should know. I sat down at my kitchen counter. What's wrong? Emma's withdrawing from the advanced math program. Her father came in yesterday and said they're exploring other educational options. My heart sank. So James was really doing it, pulling them from Westbrook rather than accepting the scholarships. There's more, Mrs. Martinez continued. Emma was crying in class today, she said. Well, she said her father told her that advanced math wasn't necessary since she'd just end up working for him at the garage anyway. The coffee mug in my hand crashed to the floor. He what? My voice came out as a whisper. I thought you should know. Emma's one of the most gifted students I've ever taught. To see her light dimmed like this. Thank you for telling me. I ended the call, my hands shaking with rage. This was exactly what I'd fought so hard to prevent. James was going to clip their wings, limit their horizons, just like our parents had done to us. Except he didn't have their excuse of poverty and limited options, he was choosing this. I called Dr. Harrison immediately. I was about to contact you, she said when I explained what I'd heard. Mr. Chen submitted withdrawal papers this morning. For both girls. There has to be something we can do. Without parental consent, I'm afraid our hands are tied. She paused, though the girls did mention something interesting during their exit interviews. Exit interviews. Standard procedure. Emma said something about their mother not agreeing with this decision. That there had been arguments. I sat up straighter. Sarah's against pulling them out. Apparently quite vocally, but as Mr. Chen is listed as the primary guardian. I thanked Dr. Harrison and immediately called Sarah. No answer. I tried again and again. Finally, a text. Can't talk now. James will check my phone. I stared at those words, ice forming in my stomach. How had I not seen it? James's controlling nature, his need to dominate. It hadn't started with my coming out. It had always been there. Another text from Sarah. Library. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. I showed up at the public library 15 minutes early, finding Sarah already there, tucked away in the reference section. She looked terrible, dark circles under her eyes, hair unwashed. You look like hell, I said, sitting across from her. Thanks, she attempted a smile. Feels like it too. Want to tell me why my brother is destroying our daughter's futures? She flinched at my tone. He's scared. Of what? Math? Art? His daughter's being successful. Of losing control. Sarah's voice dropped to a whisper. When you came out, when you showed them there was a different way to live, they started asking questions, not just about you and Julie, about everything. I leaned forward. What kind of questions? Emma asked why I never went back to college. Lily wanted to know why I quit my graphic design job when we got married. She wiped her eyes. James said they were becoming too independent, that we needed to rein them in before they got more ideas. And you're letting him? I don't have a choice. Her outburst drew looks from nearby patrons. Lowering her voice, she continued, he controls all our money. My name isn't even on the bank accounts anymore. Since when? Since you stopped paying for school. He said he needed to consolidate our resources. He took my credit cards, my ATM card. I have to ask him for grocery money. I felt sick. Sarah, that's financial abuse. You think I don't know that? She pulled out a wrinkled envelope. Look what Emma brought home yesterday. Inside was a math test. Perfect score, with a note from Mrs. Martinez. Exceptional work. You have a bright future in mathematics. James had written across it in bold marker. No worry, ADVANCETCLSEs. He's going to do it, Sarah whispered. He's going to send them to the local public school, make them work at the garage after classes. He's already talking about how Lily needs to focus on practical skills instead of art. Over my dead body, I pulled out my phone. I'm calling my lawyer. Sarah grabbed my wrist. He'll know I talked to you. He'll what? She didn't answer, but her silence said everything. Sarah, has he hurt you? Not physically, but sometimes the way he looks at me when he's angry. She shuddered. He's not the man I married. No, I said softly. He's the man he always was. We just didn't want to see it. I took her hand. Listen to me. You don't have to live like this. Neither do the girls. I have a 3-bedroom condo. The guest room's already set up for them. You can have the master bedroom. I practically live at Julie's anyway. He'd never let us go. He wouldn't have a choice. Not if we do this right. I squeezed her hand. But you have to be brave. For Emma and Lily. Sarah stared at our joined hands for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. What do we do first? First, we get you somewhere safe. Then we call my lawyer. And then, I smiled grimly. Then we show my brother exactly what happens when he tries to cage 3 brilliant women and 2 amazing girls. Sarah started crying, silent tears that spoke of both fear and relief. He's going to be so angry, she whispered. Let him. I stood up, helping her to her feet. I got a spare room at Julie's too. Pack a bag, get the girls after school, and meet me there. Don't tell him anything. Just like that. Just like that. I hugged her. It's time to show Emma and Lily what strong women really look like. We spent the next hour planning. Sarah would tell James she was taking the girls shopping for new school clothes. Instead, they'd pack what they could and come to Julie's. My lawyer would meet us there with emergency custody papers and a restraining order application. As we walked to our cars, Sarah suddenly stopped. Why are you helping me, after everything? Because those girls deserve better. Because you deserve better. I turned to face her, and because I meant what I said. I love them more than anything, even when their parents were trying to erase me from their lives. She hugged me, fierce and desperate. I'm so sorry, Sophie, for everything. I know, I hugged her back. Now let's go show our girls what family really means. I watched her drive away and called Julie. Hey, love, she answered. Everything okay? I need you to help me set up both spare rooms. We're about to have house guests. There was no hesitation. I'll stop for extra towels on my way home. And Sophie, I'm proud of you. I smiled, starting my car. For what? For showing those girls that love doesn't hide, that it fights back. As I drove home to prepare for what was coming, I thought about Emma's math test, about Lily's art, about all the dreams James thought he could crush. Not this time, big brother. Not this time. By midnight, my world had transformed. Emma and Lily were asleep in Julie's guest room, surrounded by their hastily packed belongings. Sarah occupied my spare room, finally resting after hours of tearful conversations with my lawyer. I sat in Julie's living room, watching her golden retriever, Max, guard the girls' door protectively. James had called 47 times since discovering they were gone. His voicemails evolved from confusion to rage to threats. The last one made me glad we'd already filed for the emergency restraining order. You think you can steal my family? He'd snarled. I'll show you what happens when you interfere with my life, Sophie. You've ruined everything. The next morning, while Sarah met with domestic violence counselors, I took the girls to Westbrook Academy. Dr. Harrison was waiting for us. Welcome back, she said warmly, kneeling to hug Emma and Lily. We've missed you both so much. We're staying, Emma asked, hope lighting up her face. You're staying. I squeezed their hands. No more garage work after school. No more giving up on your dreams. Lily looked up at me, her small face serious. What about Daddy? He said we couldn't. Your daddy needs help, I said carefully. Until he gets it, you're going to live with me and your mom. And you're going to do everything you love. Math, art, everything. And we can meet Dr. Julie's dog, Emma asked. I laughed. You already did, honey. He's been guarding your door all night. The girls went off to their classes while I finalized paperwork with Dr. Harrison. When I checked my phone again, there was a message from Sarah's lawyer. James had been served with a restraining order. He hadn't taken it well. 3 months later, life had found a new rhythm. Sarah got a job as a graphic designer, started therapy, and filed for divorce. The girls flourished at Westbrook, their light returning brighter than ever. Emma joined the math team. Lily's art was featured in the school gallery. James fought us every step of the way, but the evidence was overwhelming. Financial abuse, emotional manipulation, the threatening voicemails. Even his own family turned against him when they learned the full story. One evening, as Julie and I cooked dinner while the girls did homework at the counter, Emma looked up from her math book. Aunt Sophie. Yes, sweetheart. Thank you for not giving up on us. I put down my knife, moving to hug her. Never. Not ever. Even when Daddy said mean things about you and Dr. Julie? Even then, I kissed the top of her head. Love doesn't give up, Emma. Real love fights for what's right. Lily joined the hug. Like you fought for us to stay in school. Exactly like that. Sarah came home from work then, looking more like herself than she had in years. She joined our group hug, whispering thank you in my ear. Later that night, after the girls were asleep, Julie found me on the balcony. "Penny, for your thoughts." I showed her my phone, another angry message from James, demanding I stop poisoning his family against him. Julie wrapped her arms around me from behind. "You know what I see when I look at this family?" "What's that?" "Strength, love, truth." She kissed my shoulder. "Those girls are growing up knowing they can be anything they want. Sarah's rediscovering who she is. And you? You're showing them all what real family looks like." I leaned back against her. "I never wanted it to be like this. I just wanted to help them get a good education." "No," Julie said softly. "You wanted to give them wings, and you did. James just didn't expect them to use those wings to fly away from him." Inside, I could hear Sarah laughing at something, a sound I hadn't heard in years. The girls' artwork covered our walls now. Emma's telescope stood on the balcony. Lily's easel had a permanent spot by the window. This wasn't the family I expected to have. But as I stood there, wrapped in Julie's arms, listening to the sounds of love and life filling our home, I knew it was exactly the family we all needed. Sometimes the greatest act of love isn't writing a check every week. Sometimes it's having the courage to say enough, to stand up for what's right, to fight for the people you love, even when it breaks your heart to do it. I still send money to the school, not for tuition now, but for a scholarship fund for other students who need it. The first recipient, a talented young artist whose parents couldn't afford the fees. Her name is Hope. Seems fitting somehow.